Welcome fans of Fate Grand Order. I am Avon, you're watching FGO Tips, and today we're talking about farming resources for this summer event. Now I posted an overview for the entire event separately, check that out for the full story, because right now we're only talking about farming. And even though we've only got the in-game announcement for part 1 so far, we are going to cover parts 1 and 2 right here and now, so let's get going. Part 1 of the event will feature 5 types of resources which we'll need to farm: food, water, lumber, stone, and iron. Just like previous events, certain servants will boost drops of certain types. However, unlike previous events, every servant introduced so far will boost one drop or another, hopefully making it a bit easier to find at least someone in your roster that can help out. Links to the wiki page with the full list are in the description below, but I do want to call attention to some of the standout servants here. But first, I should also mention, you can help yourself with farming food and water by focusing on the Summertime Mistress CE in the event shop first. And if you need even more help, rolling on the banner at the beginning of the event is a good idea. The 3, 4, and 5-star CEs there will boost drops for lumber, stone, and iron respectively. They each boost one of the drops during part 2 of the event as well, so making the investment up front will pay off double. The 3-star CE for lumber even shows up on the friend point summons, just in case you've been saving up those points for something new. Okay, so when it comes to collecting food, the best place to start off is at the beach. Every enemy here is going to be a saber, and for the early difficulties we're looking at 2 to 3 of them per round. That means Tawara's AoE NP as an archer is going to be awesome here. And if you haven't managed to pull him yet, Robin Hood works as well. There's even Archer Ultria, who will be available on the banner featured in the second half of this event. You'll also get drop boosts from sport servants like Tamamo and Irie here. And if you need more wave clearers, Drake and Saber Alter both do a reasonable job despite not being archers themselves. After completing the first 10 projects and clearing chapter 5 in the main event, you'll unlock the Primeval Forest, which is even better for farming food than the beach. Enemies here will be berserkers during the first 2 rounds and a single assassin in the final round. Good thing I lucked out and pulled Xian Zhang during the anniversary event. Or Sanzo, is it? I think actually I like Tripitaka. Anyway, Caster Liz, Nursery Rhyme, and Helena work reasonably as well. For water, we're heading back to the beach again. We're still fighting sabers, but this time archers Atlanta and Billy the Kid will provide drop bonuses. Support servants like Waver and Hans will provide bonuses as well. And if you need more damage, you can also rely on Nightingale for the berserker damage against anyone, and Jolter for sheer attack power, even without a class advantage. When it comes to farming lumber, we'll be heading to the jungle. Here we'll see archers and sabers alone in the lower difficulty versions, and they'll be joined by berserkers in the higher difficulty versions. Despite this mix, the archers are more prevalent than the other two, and that means lancers like Li Shuin, Ku Cullen, and Hector are great here. If you're lucky on the first banner, you can also add Lancer Kiyohime as well. Arash and Tristan work well against the sabers. And if you need more damage, Raiko is a great wave clearer. And fellow berserkers Ku Alter, Kintoki, Beowulf, and Ibaraki do well against single targets. For stone, we'll want to visit the grasslands. In the lower difficulty battles, we'll see riders and sabers. Higher difficulty battles will also include a single lancer boss in the 3rd round. Sabers with single target NPs are great for dealing with this boss. Bride Nero, and Saber Lancelot are going to be your go-tos here. Assassins Theno and Jackal can help with the riders, and archers Orion, Gilgamesh, and even Kid Gil can help with those sabers. If you need a little extra damage, Herc is a great berserker for stone drops. Now, when it comes to iron, we'll be visiting the caves. Here we'll see lots of berserkers and sabers. In the higher damage variants, we'll be facing an archer as a boss in the 3rd round. Brynhilde, with her single target NP, is a great option here. Altria Lancer and Altria Lancer Alter are reasonable choices as well. Lacking any of those Lancers though, Vlad is a good backup with a single target NP. As for clearing the berserkers and sabers, archers are going to be your best bet. Tesla, Arjuna, Nobunaga, and Archer Emiya are all good choices. If you get lucky on the banner, you can also add Archer Anne and Mary. If you need more help clearing waves before the boss, Berserkers Fran and Lancelot provide bonuses as well. Now, if you've made it to part 2, the materials we'll be collecting are going to be a bit different, but the overall concept is the same. Collect materials, construct buildings, and repeat. The names of the building materials for part 2 haven't been localized yet, so they might change. But right now we're looking at oil, cement, Rialta alloy, Edrom alloy, and Ishka alloy. If you focus on the Chaldea Lifesavers CE in the event shop early on, you'll have some help farming oil and cement. The other 3 alloys can be boosted by the limited time CEs featured in the first banner, or the new CEs that will show up on the banner for part 2. For oil, check out the reconstructed city. Most waves will consist of archers and sabers. Prior to Chapter 7, in the main event, you'll see a tough caster in the final wave. After Chapter 7, you'll see a tough archer instead. To deal with the caster, you'll want riders like Drake, Anne and Mary, and Rider Kentucky. Against the archer boss, you can use Lancer Kiyohime if you were lucky enough to pull her on the banner. Otherwise, Karna works as well, and his AoE NP is great for clearing waves of archers earlier in the battle. Archer Anne and Mary and Nobunaga can help with the waves that include sabers as well. If you still need more damage, Kentucky does well as a berserker, and Jolter always does good damage, even without class advantage. For cement, look to the coast. Most waves are assassins and sabers. Before Chapter 7 there's an archer boss to deal with, and after Chapter 7 you can advance to the berserker boss instead. Special note also, in the highest difficulty unlocked after Chapter 7, this node will be entirely assassins, except for that one berserker at the end, so there's no need to prepare for sabers anymore. There's no Gold Lancer to deal with that archer boss, but Hector, Romulus, Leonidas, and Benkei all provide drop bonuses. And when it comes to fighting assassins, we have only Hans as our caster option. If you need to add to his damage, try Beowulf, Heracles, or Lubu. Mosh is also a good support option if this fight is proving difficult. For Rialta, visit the ruins. Prior to Chapter 7, expect mostly sabers with a tough archer in the final wave. In the highest difficulty tier, the boss is going to be an Avenger instead. That same wave will also feature a Lancer, which makes it tricky when building a party to handle all the sabers in the first 2 waves. Handle the archer boss with Lancer Altria or Lancer Altria Alter. But be careful of the sabers in the earlier rounds. Dealing with the Avenger is tricky, but berserkers like Vlad can help. Heavy hitters like Orion are great for dealing with the sabers in the first 2 waves, but also for dealing single target NP damage to the boss. Lastly, sabers like Saber Shiki and Saber Alter are good for using their AoE NPs to deal with the Avenger and the Lancer at the same time. For Edrom, head to the Underground Factory. Waves here will heavily feature Lancers, and the higher difficulty variants you want to farm will feature a strong caster in the final wave. Prior to Chapter 7, the caster is accompanied by weak sabers, but afterwards the sabers are replaced by a stronger archer instead. Bring strong riders for the final wave. Single target NPs like Ozzy work best, but Santa Alter and Alexander will work in a pinch. Sabers like Bride Nero, Gawain, Siegfried, and Daon will help with the Lancers, but be careful when facing that archer in the highest difficulty tier. Brynhildr is great for that round, but will suffer a lot at the hands of the sabers in the earlier rounds. Q is almost the perfect Lancer to bring because of his single target NP and his ability to evade most attacks from the earlier sabers. Finally, the cave is going to be the best source for Ishka, almost exclusively sabers here. In the highest difficulty tier, the final round will feature a saber boss and a tough caster. Archers are the best option, but there's only one that provides drop boosts, and that's Archer Altria, which is only helpful if you've been really lucky on that banner. Thankfully, Nightingale and Kualter can still use class to their advantage to inflict heavy damage here. If you're worried about that caster, you can also bring along Meb, Martha, Marie, or Astolfo. So now we've done a ton of farming, what comes next? When it comes to spending these materials, I recommend focusing on the development quests first. You want to progress far enough to unlock the best farming locations early if possible. That means completing Chapter 8 and 7 respectively. After this, you can grab the event CEs to further boost farming and then move on to whatever materials you need most from the shop. Alternatively, if you want to unlock all of the dialogue and cutscenes, you also have the option of clearing the island off and building different structures the next time around. This will cost you even more farming, but you'll also get extra mana prisms for each new development quest result. In the end, the things you buy are going to vary based on what you need personally. If you have questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and let me know what you're planning to get out of the shop, because I'm kinda curious. Do you focus on leveling up your new summer servants, or increasing their skills? Or maybe you're focused on other servants entirely? Either way, good luck with your farming, your enhancing, and your ascending. Subscribe for more tips in the future, and as always, thanks for watching.